Hey pilots, Drain Man here, and today I have got a very special video. In today's video, we're going to be checking out this all new, brand new Spec 7. This is a 7-inch racing drone. It's fast, and I put a lot of LEDs. You're not going to want to miss this. Let's go. All right, pilots, so I'm sure all of you are familiar with Evan Turner, aka Heads Up FPV. He is the champion in many ways of racing, and there is this league called Street League, and it's like heavy boy racing. It's where they build big drones and they go out and they race them fast and they race them hard. Here's the thing, it's called Spec 7 because Street League is a spec'd race. If you don't know what that is, that means that you can't just build whatever machine you want and go out and because you built something faster, you won the race. No. You actually have to follow guidelines. Like, you have to have HQ 7x4 props. You have to stay within the guidelines. Your weight has to be a certain weight limit. The frame that you build has to be open source, which brings me to another point. This guy here is open source, so if you're one of those kind of guys, you can dive in and really have some fun with this. Now, by having to follow all of these guidelines when racing means that the pilot that wins is actually, well, maybe with a little bit of luck, actually has to have the skill to win because everybody is within the same guidelines, everybody is following the same specifications, so pretty much everybody is flying nearly the same quadcopter. I mean, they're different, but they're all within the same parameters, which means the pilot who wins is actually showing off some skill because he actually beat the other pilots and not because his quadcopter was faster. And I myself may or may not jump into a spec race now that I've built one. A tree. I hit a tree. So let's go over my quadcopter a little bit. This is the Spec 7 frame, and that's what this video is about, and it's super cool the way that these arms come together. It's two separate arms that meet into one, and then there's a little plate right here that holds them together. So when you receive your frame, you get your body, your bottom plate, top plate, you get all that stuff, but then you get 8 of the exact same little ordealio, and then you flip them over, plop them together, and connect all 4. So it's actually very cool, and what that means is if I break something, it's all the same arm. And I may break just half an arm, so that's pretty cool. And you can go ahead and buy those and pick those up on the website, which I'll have a link for down in the video description. Now, for my battery, I'm running a 2250 milliamp hour pack. The battery itself is pretty damn heavy, but so is this frame, and this frame ain't playing no games. It's gonna lift whatever you strap to the bottom of this. I went ahead and used double-side sticky tape instead of Grip because I really wanted to make sure my battery was on there good, and I fed my battery strap through the bottom plate and fed it over and around. One of the very cool things is that these screws that are in the bottom of this frame and in the top of this frame are not M3. They are M5. That means that you need a 3mm driver. You know, we always usually have 1.5, 2, and 2.5. So I had a 3. Thankfully, I was able to build it. But you gotta have a 3 if you're gonna build it because that's how beefy it is. This thing is super beefy. And in here is plenty of space. So if you're filling this up and you realize that you have a small little stack, like for me, I went with HD. So I didn't have any room to spare, but if you have room to spare, you can actually fill that spot up with weight so that you can utilize that weight when thrown around this quadcopter, hooking around gates and whatever you may do with it, or if you're going to freestyle with it like some of us might, you can use that extra weight to your advantage. You can purchase this guy with light arms or long arms. I personally wanted to go bigger is better, so I went with the long arms, and the long arms are $10 more, but they're cooler. And I've actually heard that depending on the propeller, you can even get up to 9-inch propellers on here, or definitely can get 8s. How cool is that? These are just 7s, and you can see I have about 2 fingers of space between my frame and my propeller. So I've got plenty of room to upsize my propellers a little bit more if I wanted to. I went ahead and used the black snake skin that actually came with my motors to go ahead and make my motors look nice and pretty, so my motor wires aren't all over the place, and I'm not using 100 zip ties to hold them down, just 2. And then you heat shrink the ends to make it look nice and neat. Now, I did have a hard time with that stuff. I fought it every step of the way. It drove me nuts, but I actually got it and got it done. My motors are the T-Motor F90 2806.5 1500 kV motors. Now, I am outside of spec by using the 1500 kV, but like I said, I may or may not decide to race, and if I do, I can just put on a throttle cap and then I meet everything that I need to meet. For the antenna mount, what comes with the online kit of 3D printing, if you have a 3D printer and you print your own mounts, you can get the Axi mount, which I was able to make mine fit just fine. Pinched it together, looks good, fits good, I'm getting great reception, and it's not all over the place, going to get chewed up by the propellers or anything like that. With it, you're also getting multiple other options. Here's the SMA mount right here. As you can see, you can put an SMA and just run an SMA guy if you want to. I went ahead and used that to hold down my XT60 lead. I went with the Mamba stack. It is a mini stack, which is quite impressive, slugging around these heavy motors, heavy propellers, heavy frame on a 60 amp ESC. That guy's only this big. What an incredible stack though. Absolutely beautiful. Comes together, ready to go. You got a manual with everything you need in it. I got my XT60 lead. I got jumper cables. I literally got everything I need. Then I came across a little problem. In the bottom, there's these set screws that actually have female threads inside of them, and it was set up for M2. And I'm like, what am I going to do here? Because this is not set up for M2 at all. This is big boy stuff. If you got M2 hardware, don't build one of these. You need M3 stuff. And thankfully, inside of the bag, Diatone hooked it up with adapters, if you will. I was able to undo those pancake threaded nut things that were M2 and then put in what I needed, which was M3, which it did come with. That was super cool. Pain in the neck, but got it done, and the diversity is nice. These standoffs blew my mind. A normal standoff is only 5 millimeters, and these standoffs here were 8 millimeters. Look at the size of these things. They're huge, but it made it all worth it because now this thing is a tank. It literally will take a beating. I cannot imagine breaking this thing. It is heavier, so it does hit harder, but I don't see any chance that it's gonna go down for any certain reason and not be able to get back up. I'm gonna need to hit some hard concrete if I wanna break this guy, but I'm gonna take it out, I'm gonna fly it hard, and we're gonna find out. I've already done a little rip around here, and I was quite impressed, but this is like a big cat who needs to stretch his legs. It ain't happening in this little backyard. Need something bigger, need more space. So I'm gonna head out to a spot and get a little more rippage done. So on top, you're seeing this clear shell and you're like, what is that? Or maybe that's what I thought. This is called a YOM, Y-O-M, and I'm sure somebody can jump down in the comments and tell me what that actually means. But it was inside of the 3D printed package when I downloaded it. So I went ahead and printed it, and I thought, man, that thing is cool. But they show, 533 shows this lit up, and I wanted to light mine up, so I went ahead and used the Menace LED pack, and I put white in here because that's kind of my theme, the silver and the white. So I went with the white cob lights, and I went with the white LEDs inside of here, and that thing's incredible. Watch this. I mean, hot damn, it's putting off a lot of light. It is super bright. I can't wait to rip this thing at night. I'm gonna get you some footage for that. But that was super cool and super fun, and you could utilize it for whatever you want. You can get a GoPro mount up there, or you can rock LEDs like I did and do your color, and you can do whatever you want with it. You could hide a VTX up there. Do whatever pleases you. Now, I didn't want to use those on the arms as well. I wanted to go with the cob lights, so that's what you see here, and these are just some Amazon cob lights, and the wiring gets a little crazy because there's a lot to wire. There's 2, 4, 6, 8 cob lights that I've got to wire up, plus I've got the Menace light on top. So that's a lot of LEDs and a lot you've got to squeeze into there. You'll notice that I 3D printed everything in this silver TPU, but for my YAM or my top cover, I went ahead and went with clear, so that way my light would shine through whichever LED color I decided to go with, which at the time I didn't know which one I was going to use. What's cool about these cob lights is they come in strips. So you got this huge long strip, cut it where you need it, solder it up and rock and roll. And I just soldered it right to the ESC. It works absolutely fantastic. I think it's going to look awesome at the nighttime. I really can't wait to check that out. But so far, this thing is shredding. It is moving quick. I clear from back there to over here in just a few seconds, and I can't imagine trying to keep up with this with a 5-inch. So that's why when they're racing them, it's all spec'd out, 7 inches only. But if anybody wants to try to keep up, let me know. I don't think for a second they're going to be able to keep up with this. So if you're the kind of guy who doesn't plan to race this thing, but yet you love it and you want one, but you're not flying analog, don't worry. You can fit it inside. I had plenty of space to fit mine. I don't know about a full-size air unit, but any type of Vista or the new Wasp, check out my video on that. You can put that in here, no problem. There's plenty of space. So for my camera, I swapped out on my Vista and I went into the Phoenix. And the reason why is because this 3D print allows for a 14mm camera. You can also mount the battery side by side. That means if I take this bottom plate and I rotate it, which I can, it's just 8 screws, right? So I rotate that, and now my battery is in a toilet bowl or a side-by-side configuration. So whether you're gonna freestyle or whether you're gonna race, the Spec 7 is an awesome frame. It's a little more exotic, so you can have some fun building it and have some fun flying it. I surely am. I can't wait to show you guys some more footage that I'm gonna put together, get a little bit of night footy for you too. So I hope that you guys had fun. I know that I did. I hope that you guys enjoyed this video, and I will see you on the next one. Little punch out. Oh my God. Oh my God. Oh my God. I don't like this 16:9 screen here. And what sucks is I can't change it. Ooh. Guys, this thing is a tank. Holy cow. Woo! I don't even think fast is the word. I don't even think fast is the word for this thing. Jesus. This is stock beta flight. All I did was change the rates. Wow. I can't wait to take it out later and play with it. These guys are racing. let's run this street. Oh, I can't even imagine. Look how fast it clears all this area. This thing's a monster. Oh! You guys hear those propellers from here? I can hear it. Oh, goddamn! Motors aren't even hot enough.